We're grateful for who God is. That list of names given, holy and mighty and all of that, that's just the beginning of things. When Jesus was jousting with the Pharisees, Jesus made it clear to them that when you start talking about me, you're talking about something that surpasses Abraham. Because before Abraham was, he said, my name is I am. In other words, when you open up the book to look at all of the good things that a person can possibly be mighty and triumphant and awesome and holy, he says that that's just the beginning of it. He had to close the book.
Wow, you know what? Who am I, America? I'm DeAndre Ivory. And I tell you what, growing up in my household, of course, first of all, originally from St. Louis, Missouri, grew up in the Boot Hill, small town called Hayti, Missouri. Started out, of course, in the traditional home. Mother, father, both working. I am the second child of three sons, so I'm the middle son. Often referred to by my mom and my dad as the middle boy. I'll tell you, growing up in my family, I never actually thought that I would be a comedian or doing comedy, things like that. Actually, I was always sort of an introvert or a shy person. But growing up in my household, I grew up in a household that it had a lot of love, but also there was tragedy in the sense that it was an abusive household as far as my mom and my dad were concerned, because my dad was abusive to my mom. And so growing up watching that, the thing about that was I actually ended up, going to comedy and wanting to make people laugh, because I found that was a way to put a smile on my mom's face. And I always wanted to see my mom smile. I always wanted to see her laugh. So I was always doing silly things, saying silly things, just to do that. It kind of carried over, of course, in school. Of course, straight A student, all through Head Start, kindergarten, elementary school grades, and then funny thing happened. And this is some of the pitfalls of peer pressure. One of the things that happened was in the fifth grade, we took a test, and based on my score, my overall score of the aptitude test, I was granted a position in the gifted program because I scored a 92 or above on the aptitude test. And there were only 5 of us in the entire school, both 5th and 6th grade. So of all the 5th graders and all the 6th graders, there were only 5 of us that actually scored 92 or better in that on the aptitude test. And so we were in what's known as a gifted program, which meant every Thursday we would actually get a chance to get together with a special instructor, the 5 of us, every Thursday for 4 hours, and basically just be creative. And I really did enjoy being in the gifted program at first, but then what happened was the other students started making fun of me during the week, and they called me nerd, and they say things like, "Look, there's DeAndre, he's gifted," because not only was I in the gifted program, but I was the only African American in the gifted program. So being the only person of color, that I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb. And so I began to be constantly teased by other students who basically made it seem like it was a bad thing. So I actually became embarrassed for being quote unquote gifted. And because of that, I actually let it affect my grades, because the following school year, I decided I didn't want people to call me a nerd or call me gifted. So because of that, I would actually let my grades slip purposely. I wouldn't do the homework. I would make sure that there were certain tests that I wouldn't try that hard on, just so, people wouldn't make fun of me and give me the stigmatism as I thought it was, of being a nerd or being gifted. And so what I learned years later, of course, into adulthood, I realized that, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being special. There's nothing wrong with excelling. Being gifted or excelling in school, trying hard and achieving certain goals. There's nothing wrong with that. And shouldn't let people discount that or make you feel bad about being smart or intelligent or being gifted. We're all gifted in some sort of way. We all have gifts that God has blessed us with, and it's up to us to cultivate those things and maximize those things, but of course in a humble way. As I grew up, of course I grew up in church, from the Baptist church to Church of God in Christ to non-denominational. So God has always played a very impactful and powerful, important role in my life. And again, being the second or the middle child of three boys, it was always hard for me to stand out, because my younger and my older brother, they were both straight A students as well. And seeing and hearing some of the things they call my older brother, they call him Turtle, because he always had a book bag on his back, and nerd. Once they started making fun of me for being in a gifted program, I was like, man, I don't want to, I don't want that. But the thing is, you should never ever feel bad or let someone make you feel bad for excelling and achieving. Okay. One thing I realized growing up is my mom and dad, after even before and of course after they were divorced, they always told me, no matter what, keep your circle small. Everybody's not your friend. Everybody's not your friend. And I found that going through life, that people wish you well. 9 times out of 10, though, they don't wish you as well as them. Meaning they want to see you do good, just not as good or better than them. So my challenge to the youth today is to stand up and stand out, because there's nothing wrong with achieving. There's nothing wrong with excelling. Getting back into the comedy thing, where I am today with doing my comedy, I was on the when I got into when I entered into high school in the 9th grade, my freshman year. And what's so important about that, I was on the speech and debate team. Well, being on the speech and debate team, I came in with a reputation as a jokester, a class clown, somebody that was just really funny. I did all the Easter plays in church and all that. So, I was proud of the fact that, even as a 5-year-old, during the Easter play, my speech was just as long, if not longer than, kids that were, twice my age, and I would always memorize mine, and I would never read it. While other kids, even the older kids, would be reading theirs straight off the paper, I would always have mine memorized. Of course, I had my little Easter suit on, and I was sharp. You couldn't tell me nothing. But it's funny, when I look at where I am today and being on the speech and debate team. One thing that I found in being on the speech and debate team in high school and in college is that you can make an argument for anything. And I challenge the youth today to make an argument for themselves as it pertains to being successful, as it pertains to achieving. Why shouldn't you want to achieve? Why shouldn't you want to stand out? Why shouldn't you want to be the very best? There's nothing wrong with you separating yourself from people who are not doing their very best or not standing out. You know what? The most successful people are in the world, literally, are the people who said, you know what? I'm not going to be like everyone else because everyone else is not achieving at the level that I want to achieve. We all dream. Some of us just dream in color. And so I challenge all of you today to dream in color. And make sure when you dream in color, when you wake up, remember that dream. And so when you start to achieve and you start on your path, just know that no matter what, at the end of the day, the only person that can judge you for your successes and failures are really you. And of course, God judges us all. But that's in the afterlife. On this earth, you'll be your own judge and jury. So will you be found guilty or innocent of doing your very best? All right. Man, I tell you what, this comedy thing, let's get into, how I actually got into stand-up comedy. It's funny because I never saw myself as a stand-up comedian, ever. I end up actually doing stand-up comedy on a dare. At work, cracking jokes at work, and somebody, just half-heartedly made the comment, it's one thing to be funny, at work, but why don't you try getting on the stage? If you, Mr. Comedian, you want to be a comedian, why don't you take it to the stage? You need to be on somebody's stage. And so when they said that, I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So I actually, man, I got in the phone book and looked at the local comedy club here in Louisville, Kentucky, and Comedy Caravan, the big club here in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I called and found out, of course, naturally, I couldn't just get on stage. They didn't know me, I didn't know them. So I asked them about the open mic. And so they told me it was on Wednesdays, and it was from 7:30 until 10. But you had to be there by 7 o'clock in order to sign up. And so I remember, man, my very first open mic, I told people at work, I was like, hey, and they offered to say, yeah, one up there, next Wednesday. So, you guys want to come see me? Come see me. And I didn't expect, really maybe 2 or 3 people that, that I actually was really cool with to come there. But as it turns out, about 40 people from the office, from all over, the office, they showed up. And so when the manager saw that, he actually, he put me towards the very end. I think they had about 30 comedians that night, 30, 35. So yeah, and we only got 3 minutes. So he put me towards the end because, he wanted to make sure that there was always a full house, or as close to full as possible, especially with my 35, 40 people there. And I'll never forget, man, I got butterflies. And here's the thing. I still get butterflies to this day, every time I get ready to perform. Every time. And I'm thankful for those butterflies, because what those butterflies tell me is that I haven't mastered it yet. This isn't mundane. This isn't ho-hum. This isn't like, just another show. I get those butterflies and it reminds me, okay, this is that excitement building back up in me. Here's that energy, that's floating in me saying, okay, let's go. And so I got those butterflies, and I went up there, and here's the thing, I had no idea what I was going to say, not a clue. But what I did do is right before I went on stage, I actually went to the bathroom, I took a knee and I prayed. And I basically said, God, please give me something to say. And then I thanked him for giving me something to say before he gave me something to say. And so I went on stage, and I'll never forget my very first open mic. I did a joke because I didn't have I only had 3 minutes, and time was going by so fast. I remember I went on stage and I was like, very meek, very, very, very quiet, and, almost scary, like a church mouse. And, I said, thank you so much for coming out. You all give it up for yourselves. And they would clap. And I said, give it up for the other comedians that you sing. And they would clap. I said, and give it up for the comedy club for having us and letting us do the open mic. And they clap. And then in the middle of them clapping for that, I just screamed, now shut up. Shut up. I ain't got a lot of time. I started pointing my watch because I didn't. All I had was 3 minutes. That right there took probably about 25 to 30 seconds. So that leaves me with, about 2 to 2.5 minutes. So I said, shut up, I ain't got a lot of time. And so I went into this story about being poor and being kidnapped when I was, 6. And basically the joke went, I was poor. I was so, me and my family, it was 5 of us, man. We were so poor. Matter of fact, we didn't have nothing. We were so poor, we couldn't afford to owe. We couldn't afford to owe. We was just, and I said when I was 6 years old, I was kidnapped, snatched out of the ghetto. And basically, when the kidnappers asked for it, the information, called my mom for a ransom, they asked her and said they was gonna kill me if she didn't pay. And my mom basically told the kidnapper that, basically what was the ransom for, the amount, and the kidnapper said, $13.72. Yeah, $13.72. And so the crowd just bust out laughing. And then I told them, shut up. And then I got emotional. I said, that wasn't what hurt my feelings, the lowball price. I said, what hurt my feelings was when the kidnapper hung up. He turned to me and said that my mama had the nerve to ask him, could he hold a check for 2 weeks? And man, they just fell out, man. I was just like, yeah. Man, it felt good. And the thing about it is there was a guy that was in the audience, I'm not gonna call his name, but he worked at a car lot. He was a sales manager at a car lot. And he saw me, he loved me, and he set me up with studio time, and I cut a CD, he paid for everything. And I cut the CD. He, I got the CD, and he told me that, he'd come, and he stopped by my job and pick it up because he wanted to hear it. And, I gave it to him, and he said he'd give it back to me. He wanted to listen to it. And I did make a copy of it. Well, it turns out I never heard from that guy again. He never returned my calls. I called over to his car lot where he worked. He never returned my calls. I never heard from him again. I didn't have a copy. He had the original. I didn't have anything. And so literally less than a month later, I'm watching BET Comic View, and I literally saw comedians, 2 different comedians doing my jokes word for word. And it crushed me. I was devastated to the point where I actually stopped doing comedy for probably about 5 or 6 years. I was just, because you dream and you say, okay, this is going to be your big break, and this guy's going to help you, and you're going to take off, and then to see that happen, it's just really deflating. But one thing, even though I stopped doing comedy on stage, one thing I never stopped doing was I never stopped being myself. I never stopped joking. I never stopped creating in my mind. And so what I did was I said, well, I'm not going to write anything down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remember these things, and I'm going to remember in my mind. And instead of just telling remembering a joke word for word, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a topic, like an outline. And from that topic, I'm going to tell a funny story or a funny joke as it relates to that topic. That way, I don't have to really write anything down because, it's all off the top of my head for the most part. And so to this day, that's basically, what I do. I come up with a topic, and I come off the top of my dome on that topic. And I've been very successful. And it's been a grind. It has. I toured. I had the privilege of touring with a national touring stage play called In Love with Tyrone, written, directed, and produced by Erica Nicole Malone. It starred Leon from the Temptation movies and the Five Heartbeats, as well as Robin Givens. My character was Grady, the best friend of the lead actor, Tyrone. And so, I was blessed, but that comes from grinding. And I'll never forget the biggest compliment the director and producer and writer, Miss Erica Nicole Malone, gave me. She said, DeAndre, one thing I like about you and I love is that you never take a moment off, meaning you treat rehearsal just like it's the night of the show. I've never seen you rehearse. I always see you perform like it's actual showtime. And that level of commitment and professionalism is something I'll always remember. Now, I say it to say this. After of course, when COVID hit and everything stopped, I was recently contacted by Miss Erica Nicole Malone and her husband, Brian, about doing a possible residency in Vegas with the play. And that all comes from just me putting in the work and grinding and showing up for rehearsal and treating it as it is actual showtime, and not taking a rehearsal as, just a time to kind of joke around and be silly and kind of be lazy. No, just treating it as it's an actual show, and we're in front of 3,000-4,000 people, just like it would be at a normal show. And so when you do that, what you have to understand is you have to be committed, and you have to grind, and understand that even when you're practicing, people are watching. So my advice to you is understand this: your grind shows your gratitude. Your grind shows your gratitude. It represents your gratitude. I don't care who you're working for or what you're working on. Your grind will always reflect your gratitude for the situation, for the moment, for the person who's giving you that opportunity. So let's grind and show our gratitude in everything we do. Who am I, America? Hey, I'm DeAndre Ivory. I'm a comedian. I'm funny sometimes, hilarious all the time, and I thank you so much for watching.
Don't ever and ever be worried of the things you can't control. If you see it coming, let it come. The fight is not yours. All you got to do is to build up your strength in union with the Lord and by means of His mighty power.
You're feeling broken down, the trouble's coming down on you. It's been coming, knocking you down, 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 down. I wanna tell you there's a God for you. He's coming to raise you up right now. The problems, the troubles will all be solved right now. I know you've been passing through these trials, the forest, the hard for you. But I wanna tell you, I wanna tell you, it's gonna be good for you. He promised that when the sun goes down, He'll be there for you. Through the valley of death, through sound of fear. When confusion surrounds you, sex wrong is got you back in the
The songwriter said